and yours. Welcome to a live stream in which we're going to talk about the fact that Naruto has decided they want a little bit less chaos and are adding to the amount of cards that they're going to be giving away at a Yankees game. We're going to be talking about how, in particular, a specific parent was pissed off at me for something that I said online. Wasn't meant to be hurtful, but still, nonetheless. And beyond that, we got into quite a war between Pokemon fans and Disney fans, and the tribalism in which you potentially see out there in different things definitely bleeds itself into the trading card market. Your first time tuning in, what's up? My name's Schiller. If you see the QR code above me, if you want to scan that and download the Synced app, it is a free app where you're able to go and look through all Pokemon, One Piece, Vibes, TCG, Magic the Gathering, and a whole bunch of other major card games, including Riftbound. So let's start with the Naruto news. So going from 18,000 cards to 40,000 on last week's TCG roundtable, we had Mr. Adoni Slabs on saying that they were actually looking at going out to this event to see if they can end up snagging some of the cards. We'll see. I'm assuming the footage from it is going to be quite hysterical because we've seen everywhere that any sort of card giveaway causes insanity, more or less. But either way, we'll see. Again, it's against the Colorado Rockies. There are a lot of people going to be going out to that game that aren't TCG fans, maybe not, so it could be an easier one to snag. Round 1 and One Piece. This is something that we covered a little bit when it happened, and people were paying exorbitant amounts of monies for these packs. If you're in Canada, specifically Ontario, if you're familiar with Neb's Fun World, this is kind of like an American rendition of it for round 1, where it's like bowling, arcade games, and a bunch of other things that is doing a collab with One Piece. And I guess they're doing like multiple more rounds of it, so everybody's starting to scramble and be like, okay, how valuable are these cards? Are there going to be a lot more for it? But as Merc Sawmill points out, these are going for $400 a pop at one point, which is just insane. Now, on the Naruto subject that we looked at a second ago, we've seen this narrative play where all of a sudden everybody highlights, hey, this is going to be the next card game that runs for X, Y, and Z reason. Sometimes the reasons are good and sometimes the reasons are not good, but there was a couple individuals that spoke up to highlight the fact that the creator of One Piece has previously said that Dragon Ball was his biggest inspiration. You could even argue that without Dragon Ball, One Piece might never have existed. Do with that information what you will. And then for the Naruto creator, apparently that was inspired by Dragon Ball Z as well. And that's where we go down this list of everybody now being really bullish on Dragon Ball Z. But obviously, when you compare Dragon Ball Z to a lot of these other card games, the price action it's gotten is not really anywhere near where some of the other ones were. Now, something that I've been preaching the last little bit is, why in the hell am I opening cases unless I'm doing it with like friends for something fun to do? Because it just seems that everybody is losing gargantuan amounts of money. We had Point on recently on the show, and they they turned $21,000 worth of stuff into a couple $1,000s of potential PSA slabs. I can't tell if necessarily that's an entire joke, but a really interesting series the Point is doing. And Romance Dawn is the first cards coming out of One Piece. And you can see these hits aren't necessarily massive. One, you got $84, $5, $4. Okay, this is going really downhill super, super quick when you see all of it. So again, if you're out there in the card market, you know, pack ripping can be fun, but sometimes just buying those singles are a little bit easier. Now, we're getting a lot of attention, too, over in the Whatnot space, because it seems that every streamer is getting leaks of Pokemon's 30th anniversary set. You'll see one of the more highly sought-after cards in this one, with a lot of people questioning, well, how are they getting product this much earlier? And a new sort of leaked card, whether it's real or not, surfaces every single day and it makes its rounds. But obviously, it's a little bit different when you have somebody that's physically opening the pack and going through it all. I think the borders of this look a lot cooler. I think there was a lot of concerns about the 30th stamp right there down in the middle, just not having quite the, same pizzazz as some other stamps and just the vibes around it. But again, the corner pieces look cool. And as you can see, there's one of the cards right there that people are going after. But again, Whatnot streamers getting the leaks early. People are not too jazzed about that. And same with this, where I had a parent on Facebook that was not too much of a fan of this one.
I had a kid that walked up to me, didn't say anything except, I'm doing a trade-up challenge. And then the dad comes up like behind the kid and says, we're doing a trade-up challenge to get to a bubble Mew.
He just wants a free bubble Mew.
I'm excited for my kid to flip his $10 card into a $1,000 one.
It's the worst because that kid's not even flipping it into a bubble Mew. It's the dad that's flipping it into a bubble Mew. No, my most liked YouTube short of all time was this trade-up challenge where the dad comes up, he has the card in his hand, and he said, my son here is looking to do a trade-up challenge. And his son was not paying attention. He was like looking around, and his dad was like, hey, listen up, kid. You're doing a trade-up challenge right now.
So, like, it's funny when you're experiencing some of these things in person, because it gives a whole new light to it. If you see a trade-up challenge and you think, all right, well, the vendor, what'd they have to give up for it? And I think there is definitely a different vibe of, like, certain people that will walk up to you and you're like, okay, the intentions are very good. And then other ones, you're like, something feels a little bit off on that front. But good little fun story with Quadzilla and the trade-up challenge. So I had a parent that was like, there's people like you. And then there's somebody that gave my kid, like, a PSA 7 Charizard and said, go beat your brother. And I was like, listen, that's awesome. Good for you. But also these are coming almost a little bit nefarious, where Chonkaroo highlighted and said this actually started back with Magic the Gathering, funny enough. For those that don't know, these started in Magic Gathering as something called a pack to power. It was before smartphones were a thing, and the goal was to open a pack by the end of the day or weekend-long event you'd have traded for a piece of power. They've gotten out of control, and I don't recommend indulging people that want to do this. And then there was another one. Yeah. This one right here. So actually, this was the vendor next to us at Card Party in Florida, and they made a parody about the trade-up challenge.
So I'm trying to do a trade-up challenge. Could you help? This is what I got.
I just did one of these earlier, dude, but yeah, why not?
What? No way. Thanks, man. These trade-up challenges are so easy.
Yeah, and like that's for real a thing. Like you'll have kids that walk up to you. They'll try to get like a free pack if you're doing any sort of giveaways. Because we were like one of the very few booths that were doing giveaways. They'll like rip it open, not even say thank you, and then leave it on the table if they didn't pull like any big hits. And then it's such a mood ruiner. It really is. But again, it was fun. RBK Mustang Sally. I have to say, I've seen the name and I thought it was just a whole bunch of letters, but now I'm reading it. RBK Mustang Sally. What a name. What a name. Pocket DIY. This is somebody that's gone out and vending different cool little art pieces, which we talked about on the last TCG roundtable, just about the artist alley at these bigger card shows and the different products that are being offered, where you'll see a ton of binders no matter what show you go to, but these little containers and art pieces of Pokemon, that I don't know if I've seen, but also all of a sudden they got like 1.2 million impressions on X. I don't know what exactly blew it up, but they went to the event, came back, and then all of a sudden they are viral within the Pokemon space. The other thing that went viral the past couple of days is mislabelings from grading companies, which is never a good thing. So you can see this is an Ari card from Spirit Forged, and it says signature overnumbered. So it is an overnumbered card, but you can see that there is no signature over in this kind of right corridor. And so it's something that's mislabeled, which again is a huge issue. If somebody's going out, you see this, you think, okay, well, it's got to be legit, but maybe somebody's slipping up, and then you get kind of hosed on the deal. Then this is the ultimate hose. So you can see on the bottom that there's just a normal little symbol on the bottom. And for promos, they have a banner, a white banner that goes over that little pink ball that says promo. And this was labeled by PSA as a prize wall metal card, but there's no promo. Not metal, it's just a simple regular one, which I think right now are going between like $3 and $4 US. So somebody paying $22,000, which again, that might not necessarily be accurate, because I think there's a thing going on right now where everybody is screenshotting these like sold eBay listings, but it's not showing the exact price sold, because somebody could have something listed for a price and then somebody could accept an offer, but it still says like just sold. But let's just imagine for a second, $22,000, $600, you bought the wrong card. This theoretically is like an $85 card in a PSA 10. That's, somebody is tilted off the wazoo finding out about that. Over the weekend, the Spider-Man Brand New Day movie has gotten all the rage. I'm seeing a ton of friends post on Instagram, Facebook that they're going out to see the movie, that it's really good, highly recommended, yada, yada, yada. And for AMC, apparently it's the highest weekend revenue. It's a 106-year history following the success of Odyssey and Spider-Man. So I thought, let me go look and see what the prices of the Spider-Man Magic the Gathering cards are doing, because of course, that's rational, right? Spider-Man's doing really good. People are going to look up Spider-Man collectibles. What's something that's like sort of recent, but also sort of pop culturally and people are familiar with? Magic the Gathering. Have the prices moved at all in the cards? Nope, and no. We tried. Listen, thinking ahead, we tried. But we'll see if that set gets any more attention, because I don't know how it would otherwise. If you just study Magic the Gathering and Pokemon history, and then you look under the hood at Riftbound, it cannot be more clear what is going to happen. Intergalactic levels of bullishness before seen on this Earth. Love the sentiment, but I do have to go back to the story of being at Fort Lauderdale, and it does feel like there is this very specific group of people that are interested in Riftbound, and that is the players. Sure, there's big spenders, especially across international waters, in which we've seen where the Aria Best of went for $116,000, if I remember correctly, which is absurd to begin with. But a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, have no idea what Riftbound is. They have no idea what League of Legends is, and they have no idea what Riot Games is. Now, for you, if you're familiar with that, if you've played League of Legends or Riftbound, you know, like, hot damn, they've done a lot of really, really positive things around that, and I think for anybody not being somewhat bullish on Riftbound, they've just not seen the previous success of things, and the fact that they can kind of, you know, everybody's talking about this distribution lately. I think Riot Games and what Riftbound has is going to be insane for distribution, and they're continuing to get in different countries around the world. And a lot of people are just simply talking about how much it's gone up in price. Bandit, you know, just saying Riftbound cards have been pumping. And here's an example. 6 months ago, you could be up $500 if you bought one of the Misfortune signature cards. And again, every set's a little bit different, right? We've had where everybody's opening Unleashed and saying, this is awful, it's not great, whatever. But some of the more highly sought after cards, especially some of the promo ones and around Teemo, have done quite the amount of numbers, which we are expecting some truly FOMO inducing times in August, because that is when the T1 Signature Champion Bundle takes place. If you know nothing about Riftbound, people are like, yo, what's the alpha? If you can get in on the draw for this, this is probably one of the things that's like the alpha. Now, what is it? So it is a collaboration between Riftbound and T1. T1 is a massive esports organization. If you've ever heard the name of Faker, he's arguably the best esports player in the world. Within Korea, he's a massive celebrity. Like, you know, you'd go around and in Canada, you'd have like Justin Bieber and that kind of stuff on Timbits. In Korea, you would go to like the ramen shop, and Faker would be on the package of half of them. And he plays the mid role, and so like the Gallia would represent his, and there are these special signatures, and so everybody's going to be chasing the Faker signature, which I think is a 1 of 1. I'm going to end up talking out of my mind here. 5 chosen legends and a total of 10,000 sets produced for each language. Each set is 1 gold signature serial numbered 1 to 2025. Okay, cool. So there is... Wow. That's actually like a lot of side numbers. No, I don't know if many people have talked about that aspect. I don't think it matters though, because like the growth of Riftbound, like, okay, it doesn't matter if there's multiple copies of this one, right? Like there's people that are absolutely not going to move it, or people that are specifically looking for that chase card. But again, when that comes out, just be prepared, because that is going to be the talk of the town across every single trading card account when that officially drops. Now, going back to Card Party again, one thing that I thought was hilarious is the demand for Kyogre. We had multiple piles of cards for giveaways, and people enjoyed kind of sifting through and finding whatever Pokemon card they were interested in. Some were going for something specific. A lot of them were EX cards. Every single time a Kyogre popped up when somebody was sifting through all the cards, they stopped. They said, I think I want the Kyogre, and then walked away with the Kyogre. There was no other Pokemon where that was the case, and these piles were huge. So understand that there was quite a variety that was a part of it, and we even had some like sleeved promo cards that had like multiple cards within it. And the Kyogre still got more attention than anything else. Now, what you're seeing on the screen in specific is from the Storm Emerald set, which is the Japanese version of Delta Rain. And so they have a Kyogre and a Groudon. Again, price is looking fairly strong on it, and the Rayquaza coming out at like $855. Does Delta Rain get some positive price action after pretty much every single release apart from Ascended Heroes has seemingly fallen extraordinarily flat? That might be the case. In the world of Vibes TCG and their promos, they're adding another one. They just did something with Panini, where Panini's gotten a lot of attention for their digital collectibles at the National Moonbirds Orange Cap Games, and Panini had a little bit of a collab, which is kind of cool. And they actually had Big Justice, if you're familiar with the Costco guys from TikTok and the Booms. That was, I think, kind of cool to have that experience, because there was a lot of big celebrities, including Mo Bamba, who apparently is opening up a card shop himself. So obviously having to make the rounds at the National to get the attention in where he can. Now, something else is coming out and new and down the pipe is Market Forces TCG. So here's a little quick clip from Matt, the CEO and creator.
As someone who played Magic in middle school, tapping a land, if you're new to a game, you don't know what I'm talking about, right? A close friend of mine's son's 11. I was showing him the early playtest simulator, and I'm like, yeah, all you have to do is just, tap the card. He's like, he looked at me funny, like, what is tapping? When you look at some of the icons, we had to come up with icons that were intuitive, but still like explained what the concept was, while having some flavor that kind of tied back to Market Forces. So if you look at like the tap icon in the middle, it's really just an arrow, right? But it's got a little bit of energy, and so we, with Market Forces, we tried to have energy be a part of most of the illustrations, because again, it's like a force. With liquidity, this isn't some early sketching from Max.
Yeah, this is the toughest one, because it's the currency of the game, so it's everywhere. It's on every card, so it's kind of stressful in that respect, trying to figure out how to best condense the idea of liquidity into an icon. Of course, this is the water droplet combined with a dollar bill. And it was kind of good in the sketch form, but then when I went into Illustrator and tried to render it there, it didn't quite work out. I actually got to flex my skills and try to, or at least expand my skills and do like a 3D wraparound texture for the dollar bill and the final liquidity logo.
What's a way to think of liquidity, right? I mean, I know what liquidity is, but how do you explain the concept to someone younger? Okay, liquid, like a drop, and then Max was clever and put the dollar bill in there to make it look like it's liquid money. Again, this is a very early concept, but they were very important in helping us to sort of get to the final design of icon. The wealth unit, I didn't even think that we would need a wealth unit icon. It's not used like heavily throughout the set, but it is in the instruction booklet, and there are a couple cards where wealth unit is used in the text. And so when you think about terms like investments in wealth unit and liquidity tokens, they're long. And this is just a great way to shorten and keep the text short, so the player can instantly know what we're talking about versus reading a paragraph of text, which is not fun.
So again, if you are interested in market forces, they are currently on pre-order. A little bit of a tidbit from Mr. Matt Bartlett on that front. But again, trying to get more familiar with the financial world and the terminology around it. I think it's going to be a very fun time when that launches. Now, where are we within the card market? Well, we got tops that are highlighting that a 1-of-1 Hannah Montana Superfractor has been pulled, and I think every single day you'll open the timeline to, hey, there's a Lightning McQueen that sold for a whole bunch. There's a Disney Elsa 1-of-1 that I think sold for $30,000 just the other day. We are at a time where, again, the big money is flying around. Went out to lunch with my grandparents the other day, and they were bringing up how on the news these different card stores are continually getting brought up for robbery, hundreds of thousands of dollars getting stolen. And just be super safe if you're out there. And again, just space is getting hot. And with that, we've seen where earlier the One Piece round 1 cards were getting more and more available, less scarce. And then Destined Rivals is apparently getting a reprint, which for the booster box, you can see currently sits at $525, where 6 months ago it was at $577. So it's come down a little bit, and this is where you get into the talk of, oh, everybody's, investor bros, this, that, and the other thing. I think there is a genuine concern, and same with Riftbound, where we saw that there was a reprint of some of the sets early, including Origins, a couple months ago. And people were like, oh, we're getting fleeced on these things. And then people are all of a sudden bullish on Riftbound. And then One Piece has had a little bit of a dwindling down. And then all of a sudden, whenever that note gets pulled from the sea or there's some other big happening out there, does it rekindle? And say, oh, okay, we have these ebbs and flows, and then we go back up. For Destined Rivals, is this something that goes down and then immediately back up again? Is the reprint not even that big of a deal? Poketrix thinks that it's going to go to $350 a box. That's the case. Holy moly. But if you see the QR code above me, if you're wanting to scan that and get in on Synced, you'll be able to check out the prices for yourself, make these fun little graphics if you've seen across socials, and also create wish lists. And then if you're at card shows, you're able to scan to make sure that people are pricing the cards the way that you want. All different money variants are on there. So whether you're in Canada, whether you're in the United States, whether you're elsewhere in the world, you're able to change it up to make sure that it's relevant for your currency. And then you can scan your collections as well to keep track of all your fine luxury cardboard. But that's going to be it for the stream today. I want to thank you guys for coming on through. Tomorrow it's the TCG roundtable, and I got words from Mr. Meeple Dad, who's out at an event in Ottawa, and we're probably going to be doing a live call with him at a Riftbound tournament. So excited to do that, and I will see you guys then. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and we will talk